Oh, sorry, I should have started my microphone first, but I wanted to say good morning, everyone. Another Facebook Live with me, which I'll be holding every Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This coming Tuesday on April 21st, 2020, I have a webinar at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time talking about building connections and relationships through the use of a mastermind. So why do I want to talk about this? Several reasons. Number one is because I feel like this is the way I can bring value to everybody out there. Number two, there's a lot of people who are feeling isolated right now. Uh, they're alone, with this physical distancing that's required of us. We need to emphasize the importance of being social. As human beings, we are designed to be social, and just because of the situation now with the COVID-19 pandemic, we are unable to do that as effectively as possible. And the third reason I will be holding this webinar is because most people have heard of what a mastermind is, but they don't know really what it is, nor the benefits of having one. I myself have participated in one over for the past year, and I wanted to be able to share my experiences and the benefits that one can get from participating in a mastermind. So when it comes to participating in a mastermind, you actually need to start with yourself first. Are you ready to join one? The people who normally join a mastermind are ones that are looking for change. They're seeking improvement in maybe their business, their career, could be social relationships, their family, whatever it is. Maybe they're stuck in their goals or just don't know how to start towards working towards them. So this is where a mastermind can help you. But again, you need to start with yourself. A lot of people want a lot of things in terms of making change in their life. But are they actually ready? I think a lot of people talk, but when it comes to action, that's where people are lacking. And sometimes it's not their fault. That you have to have self-discipline to be able to work on towards your goals, but it is difficult, right? And it begins with your mindset. Not only do you need to be ready to commit to making goals, you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to do to accomplish your goals? In reality, sometimes you need to make sacrifices. You might need to do things that make you uncomfortable. And not everybody's willing to take that extra step to ensure that they make progress in their journey. A person who wants to make change, they also need to be very self-aware. This means like you need to know your own strengths and your own weaknesses. The funny thing is that with self-awareness, it covers both internal and external self-awareness. So you may know your own strengths and weaknesses. You may know your own follies, what you do well, but you have blind spots. There's things you may do, you may say, the way you act that you're not aware of that have a negative impact on yourself or on other people or in a situation. This is where self-awareness, you need to be focused on the internal and the external. Oh, Alan, I just saw your question. What do you think about lying in business? So what do you mean by lying in business? Lying to your customers, lying to your team, lying to yourself? If you could expand on that as I keep talking, let me know. But I'll touch upon it briefly. If you're talking about lying to customers, I mentioned in one of my previous lives that when you're in business, you need to think about the long game. I recommended a book by Simon Sinek called The Infinite Game. In the book, he talks about the finite game versus the infinite game. So what's the difference? So finite means you're out to make the quick win, that you're looking short term. Whereas the infinite game, It's saying that this this game never ends, and you need to structure how you run your business, how you conduct yourself using that mindset. So what does that mean? If you're lying, people will realize this, and they have a perception of you as a someone who is not unfair, or sorry, is not fair, or has poor set of morals. Or if you're lying to them, what does it mean about your business, like the service or product you offer them? Is it, you know, does it meet a certain quality of high standards or quality? Like if you're lying to a customer, what's to say that your service or business is not poor? Okay. Lying reflects not only yourself, but it reflects upon your business, right? So if you care about the lifespan of your business, this is something I would not recommend. If you're lying to your team, again, you want to build a culture where it's positive, that people want to be at work, want to help the business. Right? If you're lying, I don't. Maybe an analogy is that kids tend to copy adults. It's the same thing with leaders and their teams. If the team sees their leader as a liar, they're going to mimic that behavior, and this builds a very poor culture within your business. And if your employees are lying amongst themselves or to other staff, it's going to migrate over to lying to customers as well, and lying to themselves. It's not only within a business context of a business, it's also context of their personal lives. If you're lying at work, what's to say you don't lie at home or in public? Right? You need to ensure that you establish a very strong positive culture at work, and lying is not one of those qualities. And if you're talking about lying to yourself, why? Like, I would need to know the context of why you would do that. Again, here I started off talking about you need to work on your mindset. You need to be honest with yourself first, right? You have to be realize that in order to make progress, in order to grow your business or grow your relationships, whatever the case may be, you need to take the higher road and lie, and not lie. That is, sorry, because if you're lying to yourself and say you are making progress and you're not, you're never going to reach your goal. If you think you're strong in everything but you're not, again, you're never going to accomplish whatever you want to do. So I would say lying in business is probably not the recommended uh, choice for myself, anyways, or nor would I recommend to other people in terms of how they run their business. So if there's more you need, just let me know. But I'm just going to keep going on in terms of preparing yourself for making progress in your goals, and why you should join a mastermind or create one, that is. So in terms of that journey of personal growth or accomplishing your goals, I talked about you need to establish your mindset. Well, and I talked about self-awareness, both internally and externally. Internally meaning you need to recognize like what you need to work on, what you're good at. Externally, like how do people perceive you in terms of your actions and what you say? If some people think they may be the best singer, or the best dancer, or the best um, performer. That's their own perception. But what do other people say? Is sometimes it's not what you think; it's what other people think. Because you may be thinking you're on one hand that you're good, but people perceive another thing. They see the truth. If they think you're a poor singer and you think you're a good singer, well, there's some sort of mismatch. You're not aligned. One of you must be right and the other must be wrong. This is where you need to have that self-awareness, right? Are these people who are making these criticisms or observations, are they accurate? Do you have a blind spot and they've caught it? So again, like a definition of blind spot is something you don't see. If you don't realize that you don't have that weakness, or you have that weakness, or that you're doing poorly at something, you're never going to realize it unless you're receptive to feedback or receptive to constructive criticism, right? This is where you have to, again, have that self-awareness both internally and externally, which ties into my next point. You also have to be committed to being a learner. If you know you need to improve or you have weaknesses, you need to be able to improve them. And if that's the case, you need to want to improve. And in order to do that, you need to be able to learn. Some people want that quick fix, but I'm sorry to say it's not always possible. Maybe for the 1% of us, we're capable of making those instantaneous improvements, but for the 99% of us, we need to spend time learning, improving, practicing. And again, if you want to make progress in your goals, you need to take on the mindset of a learner. All right, Aaron Allen, I'm reading a question. Being deceptive in terms of information to customers, not being transparent and stretching the truth to feign responsibility for the business. Again, I'll go back to your question, Alan. Again, there's the infinite game and the finite game. Infinite game is your business is there forever. And by lying and deceiving your customer, you're hurting the odds of your business sustaining success or remaining in business. I think in terms like in being deceptive to your customers, like I'd like to know why you would need to do that. I'm always a believer in being transparent, being honest, because how you treat your customers is reflective of your own personality, your own set of morals. Again, it ties back to not only yourself, but how do you run your business? How do you run your team? If you're being deceptive to yourself, to your customers, to your team, again, it breeds that poor negative culture. Again, if customers, they're smart people these days, especially in this day and age, like information is very prevalent and it can spread like wildfire. So if one customer finds out that you're being deceptive, what's to prevent them from letting other customers know? In this day and age of, review websites, social media, lying is probably the worst thing you can do right now because, again, people are more perceptive. They have access to more information, right? And in terms of you've seen it, if a negative rumor arises and it spreads, like it's hard to fix it, right? Do that damage control, right? So why not be true to yourself, be true to your customers, be true to your team, be honest and transparent with the information you give. But that doesn't mean you have to let them know every single piece of information. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to let your team or your customers to know everything, right? It could be reasons of confidentiality, or there's legalities, or there could be things that may be preventing you for a right reason to be able to be transparent about everything. But I would always say, always make the best effort to be honest, right? I would not stretch the truth. Again, what purpose does that serve? Is it going to get you that short-term sale? But what if the customer finds out later on that you're deceiving them? Why would they come back to your business, right? You're hurting your long-term growth prospects, your long-term abilities to make a profit, to sustain your business by taking that short-term gain by lying to them. Is that really worth it, right? I think for maybe like unscrupulous business people who are just there to make as much money as possible in a short period of time, hey, maybe this is something they do. But like most of us, we're not like that, right? In terms of a business, yes, you are there to make a profit, but you're also making a contribution, right, to your community, to the people you hire, and it's also an opportunity to grow yourself, right, to learn. So hopefully I answer your question in terms of should you lie? No. Stretching the truth? No. Again, you got to think about your business like from a long-term perspective. Okay. Well, going back to improving oneself and hitting your goals on a mastermind, the other things you need to be uh, aware of is when you are working towards your goals, you need to have self-discipline. Hey, you're welcome, Al, and thanks for watching. When I say self-discipline, you have to be able to be focused on working towards your goals. And I'm going to be honest with you, it is very difficult. Right? It's not that we're all mentally weak, but there's a lot of things going on in your life that may take your attention away from it. You may have a family that you need to look after, a job you need to take care of, you run a business, but you have all these other goals at the same time. It's a lot of things on your plate, right? And being self-disciplined means you need to be 100% focused on committing to doing whatever it takes to accomplish your goals. And what this also means is being able to manage your time. With all these things on your plate, how do you make time in a day to do everything? Right? You also, eat and sleep as well. I know people say, there's time for sleep when you die, but I'm sorry to say, you need sleep to ensure that you're capable of making progress every single day. So again, when it comes to trying to hit your goals, you got to start with yourself first, right? Are you ready to make that commitment toward working towards your goals? Do you have the mindset? Are you self-aware, both internally and externally? Do you have the patience to know that working towards your goal doesn't happen overnight? It takes time. So there's that saying of a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one small step. Well, it takes a lot of steps to go on that journey. And it's the same thing with your goals. Every day you need to work on in small increments of working towards your goal. Right? Some days you'll make giant leaps. Other days you may fall back. But again, you need to stay committed. You need to be disciplined in terms of working towards your goals, and it takes a lot of patience. I also mentioned that you need to be a learner, right? Working towards your goals means that you need to have the knowledge to know what to do, and not everybody knows everything. You have to learn from others, from books, from videos, from a lot of material. So you have to be committed to learning as well, right? You notice that you need to do a lot of things in order to accomplish your goals. That's why it's not easy, and that's why a lot of people are not able to make progress or fail to begin with. Well, so this is why I am giving the webinar this coming Tuesday on masterminds. So number one, it helps get a group of people together to build those connections and those relationships. In a mastermind, you have a group of like-minded individuals who all want to make progress. Okay? And the thing is, you need to be honest and vulnerable with each other in order to make that mastermind work. And this is where it gives you and everybody else the ability to build those strong bonds and those strong connections and relationships, because you have to trust that other person to reveal your fears or your challenges or your insecurities. In order to make progress in the mastermind, you have to be open and honest with yourself and to others. And the second great thing about a mastermind, it's a group of supportive individuals, right? So I mentioned all the things you need to know in order to make progress in your goals. Again, and it's hard. This is where the support network can help you. These individuals can provide that emotional and moral support, but they also bring a lot of benefits. Each person has a unique set of skills and experiences and knowledge that they can bring to the table. Alan, I see your question about masterminds such as Dan Lok. So in terms of a mastermind, there's a general concept of what they are. And with someone like Dan Lok, they have their own versions of it. I know that Dan has probably one or more types of masterminds. Again, you have to think critically. So when Dan Lok assembles a mastermind, like how do these individuals get accepted into there? Is it they pay a fee, or is it based on their strengths and weaknesses, or their knowledge, or their industry experience? Like all these play a factor. So let's just say, let's take an example, right? Let's just say myself and 10 other people, we want to join a mastermind, but we all don't know anything, right? We all are inexperienced. I think if we get together, like we can make some progress, but with a mastermind, you need a lot of committed, strong individuals as well, right? You need to have some of those experienced people. You hear there's another saying, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to be someone who can learn from others, but at the same time, you also need to be able to give to others as well in terms of your knowledge and your skills and your experience. So I'll try to keep focused on your question about masterminds such as Dan Locke. If you could expand on it a little bit, like, are you asking me if you think it's good, or if it's, I don't know, if he's charging a fee, is it expensive or something like that? Again, I think in general, a mastermind is good for everybody, but again, there's different levels or qualities, right? If you do some research, the ideal group size of a mastermind is like 6 to 8 people, maybe cap it at 10 at most. With a large mastermind, like you would need to, let's just say if there's 100 people, you would need to break it up into smaller groups, right? Again, it's what are you looking for? If you're paying to get into a mastermind, are you with individuals smarter than you, have greater experience? Yeah, I think it's worth a worthy investment. In terms of Dan Locke, on one hand, I hope he wants to help people, but on the other hand, like, what is his ultimate goal? Why is he holding this mastermind? Is it to help others, or is it just to help himself? You can be hitting both, right? I'm sure he's trying to make a profit off of it, right? But again, you have to do your due diligence, right? Are there other people who've been in his mastermind? Can you talk to them and ask about their experiences or what they have learned? Excuse me. And there's a lot of people that hold masterminds. Again, it's you have to do your due diligence and find out, is it something that you want to join? Does it fit your needs? Because every group's different, right? Is it worth the cost that this person may be charging you? Because there's free groups and there's paid groups. So in terms of Dan Locke's mastermind, I probably would not join that. Um, his goals do not coincide with my own, or his views or beliefs don't coincide with my own. So no, I don't think I would join his. But again, it doesn't mean it's not right for someone else. So I'm just talking about masterminds again. The benefits is that two heads are better than one, right? With the mastermind, you can make use of having people there that can help you with their views, their opinions, their knowledge, their skills and experience. Because remember I mentioned blind spots? When you have a blind spot and someone else notices it, in a mastermind, they'll be honest about telling you what your blind spot is, and be able to contribute, give you new ideas, maybe possible solutions, right, as to how to improve that blind spot. With the mastermind also as well, it can be, everybody has like different goals and different issues or projects that you want to work on. Again, it doesn't matter if it's about your business, your career, your relationships. Everybody brings a different viewpoint, different perspective, and you're able to help each other out. I would say one of the biggest benefits of a mastermind is accountability. So it's kind of funny because when I first started participating on masterminds myself, I wasn't really clear about, like, just because I set goals, how do I ensure that I meet them? When it comes to accountability, in a mastermind, you're going to announce to the group, like, what are your goals for this week, possibly this month, and this year, maybe in 5 years. You have to inform the group of the steps that you're taking, right? And this is where you're going to be held accountable, right? The group's going to question you if you don't do those tasks. Why not, Hector? Why didn't you do that thing that you told us you were going to do, right? And I say it's a funny thing because let's just say you didn't do it, or you forget, or didn't want to. The group's not going to punish you. They're just going to ask you why. Why didn't you do it? And the person that's going to feel the worst is yourself for not doing it. And you're going to be the one that pressures yourself the most because you didn't do it. You told this group that you were going to do something, and now you haven't. So internally, you feel like you not only failed yourself, you failed the group, and you made a promise to them and you didn't keep it. So it puts pressure on yourself. So this is where the mastermind, that the accountability comes into play. You hold each other accountable. So you also, when I say you hold each other accountable, it's not you just meet once in that meeting and you wait till the next meeting. You have the ability to communicate throughout the week until the next time you meet. That there's through messaging or phone calls, video chats, you continue to provide support and knowledge to each other to make sure you hit those goals or complete those tasks until your next meeting. So with the mastermind, you're working as a group together. And again, ideally, the individuals who compose the mastermind are committed are committed that they want to make change and they're willing to make change. In terms of the masterminds I participate in, or the ones that I would hold for other people, I'd be very strict. If you miss one or possibly two meetings, I'm sorry, but I would have to kick you out of the group, right? It's not because I dislike you or that I'm very harsh, but because if it's holding yourself accountable. If you decide not to show up unless you have a very valid reason, a life does get in the way. You need to commit to making change. If you're committing to the mastermind, you're committing to other people. You're committing to yourself. And if you choose to purposely miss a meeting, you're telling me, you're telling the group, you're telling yourself that accomplishing that goal is not important. So I think in some good masterminds, you're held accountable in terms of your just showing up, right? Showing up to the meeting, right? If, like I said, what are you willing to do to accomplish your goal? Showing up to a meeting shouldn't be that hard, right? Again, unless there's some extenuating circumstances, you need to show up. And if you miss one or possibly two, you'd be eliminated from groups. So I think that's a difference between some of the paid masterminds and some of the free masterminds. Like, again, they're all different. I'm just saying from my experience, for the really good ones, regardless if it's free or if it's paid, if you miss the meeting, one or two, you're going to be kicked out. Right? Again, we want for a mastermind only very committed individuals. Right? So again, I'm holding a webinar this Tuesday, April 21st, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to talk about the benefits of a mastermind that allows you to build those connections, those relationships, and provides an accountability group for you to meet your goals, right? Again, it's one method for you to take that journey of making progress, hitting goals, accomplishing projects, building relationships, but it hinges on you. Are you committed? What are you willing to do? If you want to, level up, like this, the mastermind's the way to go. It's not for everyone. There's a lot of people who just talk that they want to, make things happen. But the thing is, there's talk and then there's action. We're only looking for people who want to take action. If you're not ready, that's fine, right? Just give yourself some time. Maybe you'll be ready in a month, in a year, in a few years. But in order to make a mastermind work, it requires committed individuals who are willing to be accountable to themselves, be accountable to others, but also be able to share their skills and experience and knowledge with others. And you have to be open, honest, and vulnerable to be able to work and share and communicate with with this group of individuals. And this is where you build those strong connections and relationships. Even if the mastermind doesn't continue for whatever reason, or it's only lasts for a limited amount of time, those relationships will remain the same. So for a true mastermind to work, it should, I think, continue indefinitely. Because just because you accomplish one goal doesn't mean you don't have other goals you need to uh, work on as well, right? And with the mastermind, there could be individuals who leave and new individuals that come in, and it'll always be a changing dynamic, you know. And again, it's an opportunity again to meet new people, to build those connections, establish strong relationships. Like I know that some of you again have read about what a mastermind is, and but here's an opportunity this coming Tuesday for you to learn like how can it benefit you. Like you all have challenges, right? Who doesn't? And mastermind is one way for you to help overcome them and to meet your goals, right? To build something, right? Whether it's personal or like something with a group of people or projects you need to work on. It is one way. But I'm saying like with the mastermind, it's not the easiest for some people, right? Again, you need to be committed. I keep repeating, you need to be committed and accountable. And you have to be in that right mindset, right? You need to only not work with other people, you need to work on yourself. All right. So, Alan, if you're still there, and if you have any questions, let me know. If there's anybody else that has questions, because I'll be signing off very soon. But again, today I talked about being ready, preparing yourself in terms of why you should have a master or join a mastermind, the benefits of a mastermind. If you participate in this Tuesday's webinar, you'll hear a lot of the similar things. But I wanted to prepare for some other people, just to introduce them to the topic and let them know. So, thanks for watching. I'm going to be signing off. And until next time, hopefully I'll see some of you on Tuesday. Thank you and have a good weekend.